Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Beth with Create with Beth, and today is the third video in my Card Making 101 series. Today we're going to be talking all about stamps, how to use them, where to get them, the different types, how to care for them, all of that. So I want to start by talking about where you can get stamps. There's a variety of different places. You can go to Stampin' Up. A lot of people really love Stampin' Up, but Stampin' Up, when you order from the company, does tend to be a little pricey. Even if you become a demonstrator and get the discount, it's still going to cost you more than you would pay from a lot of places. But you can get retired Stampin' Up sets from many different places for a much better price. On Facebook, there are several retired Stampin' Up sites that you can buy, sell Stampin' Up items for a lesser price. You can also find great deals on eBay, and you can go to thrift stores and often find used Stampin' Up there. So there are some different options. Some other places that you can get stamps from are places like Lawn Fawn. Lawn Fawn is a really great little company out in California, and they sell really adorable stamps, and the prices are not bad, and they have a free shipping deal, which is also always great. Mama Elephant is another company that makes some really cute stamps that you can get. Gina K Designs is a great place to go for a variety of stamps and other items, and the prices are very good. She often does deals and sells kits, and yeah, you can get all kinds of great things. And she also has free shipping and free incentive stamps for if you spend a certain amount of money, you get free stamps and other items. So those are some of the different places. Scrapbook.com, again, is always a really great place to get stamps, and they're often discounted. So just do some searches online and see what you can find. Shop around, definitely, for sure. You'd be amazed at what you can find out there. So let's talk about the different types of stamps that are out there. Basically, there are three different kinds. You have the wood mount stamps, which is a red rubber stamp on a block of wood. Now, these are hard to come by in some places anymore. I guess the red rubber is getting harder to source for manufacturers, so they don't make these as often, but they are still out there. So that is one option. Then you have what is called a cling stamp set. And the cling stamps are basically red rubber, but they're not mounted on a wood block. They just come separate like this. They have a cushion. You can see the cushion, same as the red rubber, which makes for even stamping. And the way you use these is you mount them on an acrylic block like this. And there are different sizes. Like this one is too small for that one, so you would need to use a bigger one. And there are numerous places to get the acrylic blocks at too. So shop around for those. So that's how that would work. And then you have what we call the clear or photopolymer stamps, which are these. And these, again, are stamps that are mounted to a block. Let's pull one of these out. You just open this up, you peel it off of the acetate sheet, and I will show you how to mount these. Let me find a block that's a little bit closer to the size we need. One thing you don't want to do with these is you don't want to take the stamp and put it on like this. The reason for that is that you can inadvertently stretch the stamp out of shape. And especially if you are using a die cut to cut the shape out later, that can really affect the end result. So what you want to do instead is you want to place your stamp down and come in from the top and pick it up like that. and it's going to stick to your block. So that is basically all about stamps. Now let's get into how to stamp. So you're going to need a sheet, a piece of cardstock, and the other thing you're going to need, if you are using photopolymer stamps like this, is you're going to need some kind of squishy surface. This is going to help you replicate what you get with the red rubber. So you see that squishy bit in between there. You don't have that in this stamp, and you really need that to get a good impression. So you use something like this, which is a Stampin' Pierce mat from Stampin' Up, or you can just use a mouse pad. Will do the same thing. So you're going to put your paper on here. You have your stamp mounted on your block. Now, you saw that I took this off of the acetate sheet, and I have not used the stamp yet, which means it's brand new. And in the manufacturing process, there ends up being a little bit of a film on top of this stamp, so we want to get that off. There are numerous ways to do it, but my favorite way is to just rub it on the inside of my wrist. This is called seasoning your stamp, and that's going to get that off of there, that film off of there. Now we need some ink to stamp it with. Because this is an image that you would color with markers or pencils or whatever, I'm going to use an ink called Memento Tuxedo Black, which is a dye ink. Excuse me. And this is good to use for using with alcohol markers because it won't bleed when you go to color your stamp. So we're just going to open this up. And you're going to take your stamp and you're going to tap, tap, tap on your ink pad. Now, I like to do a practice stamp before I stamp on my cardstock. So I'm going to go on my grid paper here. I'm going to go straight down. I'm going to hold it there for a minute to let the ink transfer, and I'm going to come straight up. And that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and ink my stamp a little bit more. Sometimes I like to twist it a little bit when it's a new stamp to get that ink really going. And notice I'm going all over the block instead of in just one place. That's because if you just go constantly in one place, you're going to end up with a dry spot on your ink pad. So I'm going all over. Then I'm going to come over to my cardstock. I'm going to position it over where I want to stamp. I'm going to go straight down again. I'm going to apply firm, even pressure to that stamp, hold it for a minute, a second or two, and go straight up. And now I have my image just like this. And that's as easy as it is. We'll close our ink pad so we don't dry our ink pad out. Now I'm going to show you how to clean your stamp. When you're finished, you want to clean this up. There are different ways to do that. One way is by using I'm sorry, I have a cough today, by using what is called a stamp chamois, which is basically a spongy type of cloth that you get damp, and you can just rub that over your stamp and clean it that way. You can also use a microfiber towel to clean it, which is convenient. What I like to use is a scrub, and the one that I use is from Stampin' Up. You can get these from a variety of different places. This is called the Stampin' Scrub from Stampin' Up, excuse me. And the way that it works is I have a wet side and I have a dry side. You can see which is which by there are little, I don't know if you can see it, but there's little raindrops on the wet side and there is a sun on the dry side. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this Stampin' Mist stamp cleaner and you're going to spray this. Mine is still pretty juicy, so I'm not going to spray it, but you're going to spray your wet side all over. You're going to take your stamp and you're going to scrub it over that surface to clean it. Then you're going to come over to the dry side and rub it on this to dry it. Now this has twofold purpose. One is that you're obviously cleaning your stamp. The other is that you are conditioning your stamp, and it's going to keep your stamps in really good conditioned and nice and supple and easy to use. So then when you are finished stamping, you're going to bring back your little thing here. We'll take this out, and you're just going to peel it gently off of your block and put it back on the acetate sheet, just like that. And it can go back in your package. Mine obviously ripped, so I'm going to be transferring it to a plastic storage envelope that I get from Amazon.com. And that is basically it. Oh, I did want to show you how to use a stamp positioner. That is another way to stamp your images. This is the Misty, the Mini Misty from Sweet Petunia. It is just one of many brands of stamp positioners. A lot of people like to use these. I like to turn mine so it's going this way. So basically, you have a magnet that helps hold your paper in place. And then I just have a well-used scratch piece of grid paper. Then you have a mat that sits in here. This is to use with your photopolymer stamps. You put this in here when you're using the photopolymer just to get that, like I said, that extra cushion. If you're using a cling red rubber, you take this out because you won't need it. But we are going to be demonstrating with the photopolymer, so I'll show you how to do that. And you're just going to put this in here. Let's find an image that we can use. Let's get out. This is a new stamp set from Stampin' Up! That I just got, so let's go ahead and play around with this one. We'll take one of these cute little Easter bunnies out. And when you first take these off, they're going to be really kind of sticky and hard to get off, but they will come. So basically, I'm going to put my paper inside my Misty. I'm going to take my magnet that will hold it down. Let's get it kind of in the corner here. This is going to keep my paper from moving. I'm going to take my image and put it wherever I want on the paper to cut it, to stamp it. I'm going to close the door of my Misty and kind of gently scrub it, push it down. It will lift your paper up, so you need to push that down again. Now it's on the door of my Misty. Now remember, I need to season it because I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to take my wrist and rub it across that stamp. I'm going to take my Memento Tuxedo black ink, and this time I'm going to take the ink pad and go to the stamp and ink it up pretty good. Just like that. Then I will close the door of my Misty. Now I have a special tool here that I use. Whoops. Having things fall apart over here on me. I don't know. This is, I don't know what the name of it is, but it's basically a tool that I use to help me apply even pressure to my Misty, and I just run it over like this. And then we'll open the door of the Misty, and now I have an even, perfectly stamped image. Now a lot of people like to use this when they are mass producing cards because they're able to do it quicker. Just stamp and stamp and stamp and stamp over. So that's the reason a lot of people like to use the Misty. I don't use it very often. I really prefer to use the acrylic blocks. It's just a personal preference. So there is all about stamping. I hope that this helped you with your stamping and learning to stamp, where you can get your stamps from. I hope you will go out and get some stamps and give this a try for yourself. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'm happy to help you in any way I can. Thanks for stopping by. Please like and subscribe, and if you haven't already checked out the first 2 videos in this series, go back and look at those now. There'll be more coming, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.